Today I fucked up by asking a man with one arm if he wanted a hand. First time poster and on mobile, so apologies if not formatted okay. Preface this by saying that this did actually happen earlier today. I was at work in a supermarket and I was manning the self-serve tills. I see a man struggling with scanning with a newspaper as all the inside leaflets etc. were falling out everywhere. So I go over to help him and ask him, do you want a hand? I then look at him and see that he only has one arm. My face just drops into a look of horror as I realize what I just said, and we just look at each other. Luckily he just laughed as I was trying not to die of embarrassment and accepted my help. Honestly, I don't think I have ever wanted the floor to swallow me more than at this moment. As he was leaving he waved goodbye with the flap of his coat where his missing arm was, and I just went bright red whilst my colleagues laughed at me. They continued to laugh and reminded me of this for the entire day, and I am not sure I will ever live it down. Too long didn't read. Asked a man with only one arm if he would like a hand with scanning a newspaper. Proceeded to almost die of embarrassment. Edit: I was not expecting all these comments, but I love reading them and I'm glad this hasn't just happened to me. It's also interesting to see it from the other person's perspective too. I am glad that most of you can find the humor, and it makes me feel a bit better about earlier, though still mortified. Also thank you for the awards. I worked with a guy who had a brother that was electrocuted and died. When he came back I said, I am so sorry to hear about your brother, that must been such a shock. Guy almost died myself. As a man with one hand, I can officially tell you this is fine. We would all love a hand. I would love to give you one too. I was considering chopping off one of mine to give to him, I felt so bad. I bet he's got a good sense of humor and picked up on your embarrassment and had himself a hearty chuckles. I only have one testicle and my friends used to always make drop the ball jokes whenever possible. Not the same thing, but I thought it was hilarious. One time at work I was leading a blind patient to his room and noticed a couple of our other patients were starting to argue down the hall, then started to fight. I was looking around to get another coworker's attention, while assuring my patient nothing was going on, and totally led myself and my patient into a wall. My coworker that stopped the fight later told me she totally saw me walk that blind guy into a wall. I work at a restaurant, chef. One day we had a booking that were some people that were eating at us after a burial. Our restaurant is fairly close to a church. They arrived and the server attending to them noticed that they were a few people short than what had been specified in the booking. He walked up to them and asked, "Are you missing anyone?" I had to run back to the prep kitchen before I died from laughter. Today I fucked up by ignoring my stomach and obliterating a tiny bathroom. I need to preface this with I am a very embarrassed pooper. Now, rewind maybe 5 years ago. I get asked by some friends to go out to a small mom and pop Indian restaurant to celebrate a friend's birthday. I am stoked because the place has amazing food. It didn't even enter my mind that my stomach hadn't been feeling well and that I hadn't pooped in at least 2 days. We sit down and I order a rather spicy vindaloo, my favorite thing from this restaurant. Everything is going great, good food, loud laughs and nice drinks. Hooray, right? Wrong. That when my gut tells me that it is very much time, but being the shy pooper I am, I begin to fight its urges. After only 5 minutes or so the cramps returned with the power of 5 suns. I had to sit bolt upright to prevent the mud monster from breaching the gates. I am now sitting with the best posture ever and sweating like a crackhead in a chalk factory. Something my friends immediately notice and ask about, to which I reply that my food is spicier than normal, before excusing myself to the bathroom. There was just a single bathroom at this place and it was tiny, but I had no choice. As soon as I sat down the crapaconda came flying out of me at nearly Mach 1. Even with all my embarrassment, all I could feel at the moment was pure relief and pride that I was able to hold the monster in for as long as I did. I stood up and much to my horror it was no crapaconda but a fully grown shitmado dragon. The whole bowl was full, and I mean full. I gave it a few flushes, please, to which it only rolled around a little. There was no plunger in sight. I was trapped and beginning to panic. It was at this point that the true fuck up happened. In a moment of sheer panic and embarrassment I fled the bathroom. I returned to the table and continued like nothing happened, even though I felt horrible. We were getting ready to leave, when I saw an older man out of the corner of my eye headed to the bathroom. He opened the door and stepped inside to be greeted by the largest butt burrito that has ever been. Oh good lord, he yelled loud enough for it to be heard by everyone in the small restaurant. All of my friends turned and looked at me. All I could manage to do is say, well, it was fine when I was in there. TL, doctor ignored the fact I hadn't pooped in days, went out for Indian food with friends and clogged the bathroom with perhaps the largest poopopotamus ever laid. Edit typos. The amount of words everyone on this sub makes up for the word poo is incredible. Fully grown shitmeadow dragon is a phrase I didn't think I would have ever had to read my entire life. Crapaconda shitmeadow dragon. I'm sure this is a fuck up for you, but it's hilarious to me. I'm convinced that poop knife to the power of TM is a marketable product. I saved your post and coming back later to give you my free award. Hope it'll be the wholesome award. I, on the other hand, was still sitting on a free wholesome award. Now I no longer am. Today I fucked up by saying aloha. Today I fucked up by saying oa to Hawaiian natives. If you've ever been outside of the tourist traps of the Hawaiian Islands, like the big island outside of Kona and Hilo, you'll quickly realize they hate pretty much everyone from the States. I routinely say howdy and aloha just because. It's just a thing I say for no particular reason long before I've ever been to Hawaii. I didn't think of it as appropriation until I let slip an aloha when greeting my bartender, to which he and a patron lectured me on how I was disrespecting their culture, and was using their language as a novelty. Not sure how I feel about the exchange, but I apologized and left after a couple drinks because I just felt uncomfortable afterward. Too long didn't read. Don't say aloha to native Hawaiians unless you're a native yourself, I guess. They don't like that. Emo, it should always be okay to try to speak another language. No matter how little of it you know. Context matters. If you're visiting a new country and are trying to learn the language to communicate with locals, it's completely fine. If you say holla to your Latino co-worker out of the blue and the dude was born and raised in Maryland or some shit, it can come across as insensitive. Honestly, a good rule to follow is to greet them in the same language they greet you with. If you're greeting someone first, greet them in the language you're most comfortable with, then transition to a language that you can both mutually understand. I lived on the Big Island for 6 years after tech school, was a wonderful time, and it is such a boat a day I fucked up a place. It's a weird mix of locals, some get excited that you try and learn and others are affronted by it. One of my best friends taught Hawaiian culture and would try to teach me as much as he could. While I would respect the bartender and the other patron in that situation, I also wouldn't take it too personally. In my experience, the locals that actually speak Hawaiian appreciate you trying. It seemed to me that it was an endangered language. Newer generations learn less and less of it outside of actual study, unless things have changed in the last 10 years since I left. It's an insanely hard language. And the fact that there are only like 12 letters in their alphabet, which makes every word obnoxiously long lol. I'll never forget trying to get directions and getting confused as all fuck when they told me I need to turn down Mamalahoa Highway and take it to Kamehameha Road. I wanted to cry lol. Greeting people with their own language should never be considered disrespectful. If I go to Europe and say hello or guten tag in Germany, I shouldn't be reprimanded for trying to learn the language and greet accordingly. They probably just hate Americans. As long as you're well-intentioned, it shouldn't matter, but I suppose they've experienced some ill-intentioned folks there. From what I'm reading, you live on Oahu. I was in Pearl City myself for a bit. Next time you wanna try and make friends with natives, bring some type of food or beer. I'm not kidding. It's how I got along so well with my neighbors. I'm actually on Big Island, right outside Waimea. But tickets to Oahu are like $100, so I might take you up on that some weekend, haha. Hawaiians are overall pretty friendly, but there's a high ratio of them who hate anyone that resembles a tourist. Smiley face. I've only met 2 other black people since I've been here, so even though it's a small population around here, I'm instantly recognized. My second day at work, everyone knew me by name, lol. As a native Hawaiian who lives in Las Vegas, I can tell you I don't care how you greet me. Native Hawaiians have a huge "we grew here, you flew here" stigma around us, and I for one am embarrassed you got lectured by locals by giving them a simple greeting.